You're listening to the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub. Around the Huddle, college sports beyond the game.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Around the Huddle podcast, where we talk about all things college sports beyond the game. I'm your host, John Gross. If you are a returner, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. We're happy to have you on the show. We talk about everything basically beyond the game. So if you're looking for a recap of last Saturday's college football weekend, you won't get it here, but you'll get everything that goes on beyond that. The politics, the business, the economics, the legal side of things. That is what we touch on, and we will touch on what I think is one of the most transformative recent trends that has started this summer, and I think will continue on for the next few years. Really interesting stuff today with a great guest. But before we get to that, a reminder to subscribe to our page. When you subscribe, you will get notified every time that we post new content, which is typically once a week, so it makes your life a little bit easier. Also, like and comment by engaging with our posts. It helps us with visibility, helps us get more awesome guests. And if you leave a comment, let us know if there's a topic that you want us to touch on, if there's a guest that you want us to have on, whether it's an athlete, whether it's an expert, whether it's a specific storyline that you want us to hit on. We've had athletes on, we've had conference commissioners, we've had athletic department administrators, we've had attorneys, you name it, we've had them on. We've talked about a lot of topics, but look, I'm always game to talk about something new on this show. So again, like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, a big shout out to our good friends at PAC-Hub. We are powered by PAC-Hub. Take a look, bottom of your screen. PAC-Hub.com. If you are a student athlete and you are looking to transfer, right? You enter the NCAA transfer portal, but it's you and thousands of other people. So how can you stand out? That is where PAC-Hub comes into play. By then entering the PAC-Hub portal, you will have a PAC-Hub page, which is populated with your statistics, with your measurables, with your academic information, with all of these specifications that allow coaches to search for you. Okay, so let's say you are a left-handed pitcher, right? That's a position in baseball that is always desirable. Coaches are always looking for good lefties. Okay, you are a lefty pitcher. A coach can then go and search for you. They want that lefty pitcher. They want a guy who is a junior. They want somebody who throws a fastball this fast, whatever it is. They can search for you using PAC-Hub. And again, from the coach's perspective, this makes your job a lot easier. Rather than having to parse through the NCAA portal, find the ID number, look up their stats and measurables and all sorts of other info by yourself, this is a massive time saver, makes your job a lot easier. So again, take a look, bottom of your screen, PAC-Hub.com, PAC-Hub, connecting athletes with opportunities. Okay, today we are talking about uniforms, apparel, but really so much more than that. Now, I am a Nike guy. I'll tell you that flat out. But today I am wearing ADIDAS. One of the few ADIDAS items that I actually own. This is from my former place of employment, UNC Pembroke, which was my first job out of college. They were a UNC Pembroke, they were an ADIDAS school. For those who may not be familiar with how apparel deals work, colleges and their athletic departments in particular sign contracts with apparel providers. So Nike, ADIDAS, Under Armour, so on and so forth. They make the gear, the shoes, the uniforms, all of that for certain schools. Now, you may think, okay, that's fine, but why does that really matter? Well, it does, because it results in a lot of money. There are major financial windfalls from said deals. Over the summer, Tennessee made a move from ADIDAS to Nike. It was an ADIDAS school for about 25 or so years, from the 90s to the mid-2010s before moving to Nike, and then moving now back to ADIDAS starting in the summer of 2026. Penn State is making a similar move, which this one is shocking because Penn State has been Nike for a very long time. Now we're going to dive into that in a moment, but nonetheless, summer 2026, Penn State too will become an ADIDAS school. So why are these big name programs leaving Nike and moving to ADIDAS? Well, we are going to break that down today with our outstanding guest. Our guest today is Max Ralph. Max covers Penn State football for Penn Live. definitely check out his stuff, Penn Live, and Max and his entire team, really one of the foremost places for Penn State football coverage. So let's welcome in our guest today, Max Ralph. Max, thanks for joining us.
John, hello. Great to see you. It's been too long, buddy, but I'm happy to be here and happy to chat some beyond the field for you today.
Yeah, look, it's always great to talk to you, Max. You've done an amazing job. I've thoroughly enjoyed following your career over the years. Let's start here because for those who are longtime viewers, you all know that I went to Penn State. I love Penn State. Max, how are things going up in Happy Valley right now?
Yeah, well, the same goes for me. I graduated from Penn State as well. That's why you and I met. But things are mostly good, at least as far as on the field goes for Penn State. I mean, they're 3-0, ranked number 2 in the country, and not a ton to complain about aside from some nitpicking on the offensive side of the ball. And I think community-wise, it's football season, so it's always buzzing around here, and it's always a good feeling in Happy Valley.
Absolutely. They call it Happy Valley for a reason.
Yeah, they sure do.
So, okay, Penn State making this move earlier this month, announcing that it will be switching from Nike to Adidas summer 2026. Tennessee announced the same over the summer. Now, when the Tennessee news dropped, I wasn't too shocked because, as I said before, Tennessee was an Adidas school for a couple of decades. When Peyton Manning was there, they were an Adidas school. So there was precedent to them being Adidas. Penn State's move, to me, was earth-shattering for many reasons. Let's start here. Tennessee and Penn State making this move. Why?
Yeah, it really boils down to dollars, John. I mean, Penn State's putting a lot of money out right now. And to just simplify it in easy terms, Beaver Stadium's renovation project is $700 million that are going out. The NIL, they have at least $20.5 million going out to players across every sport right now. And there's a heck of a lot more that we don't know the exact numbers of because collectives, advertising deals, whatever you want to call it, the not pay for play stuff that has to be approved. That stuff is pushing them over the $20.5 million threshold in the athletic department. So we're really talking about at least $800 million, probably more than $1 million that are going out specifically on projects and NIL at Penn State. And Adidas comes in here with an offer that is blowing Nike out of the water for this next term. We're at $300 million for Penn State on this deal with Adidas over 10 years. And yeah, when you look at what Nike was given the opportunity to match this, and it didn't do it. So it's just simple. There's a lot of dollars going out. You got to have dollars coming in. It's the same reason Penn State entered into a field naming rights partnership at Beaver Stadium. That ruffled a few feathers back in the spring, but it's just dollars. That's all it is. It's what it boils down to. You got to cover these things somehow. They're not going to change the name Beaver Stadium. They didn't do that. They added other field sponsors too, though. There was one that just got announced last week with Amica, an insurance company, and you see Amica plastered all over Beaver Stadium. Dollars are going out. Dollars have to come in. And Adidas right now had the highest bid and now gets the rights to Penn State for the foreseeable future.
As you said, 10 years, pardon me, estimated $300 million for Penn State. That's what the reporting has indicated. Tennessee, also a 10-year deal. Do we know what the Nike deal was that Penn State is about to end?
No, I did some looking into this because I just got onto the beat 5 years ago as a student and professionally in the last season. So I was trying to find this for my own records, and I did not see it in a bit of brief research. But it boils down to and I keep saying boils down to, but Penn State had been with Nike for more than 30 years. So clearly the money was good enough to keep Penn State happy and keep the athletic department in a sustainable place. But, whatever Adidas has come in with definitely was worth the switch in Penn State's eyes.
You mentioned it, the history between Penn State and Nike. It goes a long ways back. It was in the mid-90s that Penn State began to put the Nike patch on its uniform. I was not alive at that point, but my understanding was, as you would expect from a Penn State fan base that is incredibly traditional and doesn't like change at all. There was quite a bit of backlash over that. Anyway, they got over it, and the Nike logo has been on the Penn State uniform ever since then. Phil Knight, who is the founder of Nike, long had a very close relationship with Joe Paterno. He spoke at Joe Paterno's memorial service at the Bryce Jordan Center, gave a very emotional eulogy to Joe Paterno. So this is a relationship that goes back a long ways. What has the reaction been from the Penn State fan base, the Penn State community to this move?
I think it's definitely been hesitant because, as you said, this is a very traditional fan base. It always has been, no matter what the topic is. When NIL first came around, Penn State was pretty slow to catch up on that front because fans weren't really open to donating to NIL right away. It was more, if we're going to donate, we'd rather donate to the athletic department. And obviously Penn State's caught up now. Revenue sharing's helped a lot. But yeah, I think the reaction is a little suspicious, is maybe the best way to put it, because I put out a little video explaining everything that was going on just on social media. It was really brief as soon as this news broke. And I've got comments of people saying, like, this is a disaster. Why would you do this? And you keep scrolling down social media, you get probably maybe a 60-40, 70-30 mix of, like, I felt like the majority of people were kind of mad about this. And then you have the other group that's maybe a little bit more open-minded about where college athletics is going right now and understands, yeah, the money is a good thing. Penn State's spending a lot of money right now. ADIDAS, and this is something I forgot to mention in my initial response, ADIDAS is also partnering with Penn State's NIL. That is a huge piece of this. I don't know exactly what portion of the deal is going toward NIL, but ADIDAS has a large networking base that includes a couple of famous Penn Staters, Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter, their brand athletes. They can sign Penn State athletes to brand deals that goes beyond just the $300 million that's going to the athletic department or whatever is going into the athletic department. So there are a lot of people that understand that and are like, okay, I don't really care. It's just a logo patch on a uniform for the most part. As long as it's helping Penn State win national titles, fine by me. But I would say, I think, and maybe they're coming around to it a little bit more now as it's been officially announced and there's some time to let it digest. But I definitely think the majority of people right away were like, I don't like this. I like the Nike swoosh. I think some people think ADIDAS is lower quality gear, which you said you're a Nike guy. I'm an ADIDAS guy through and through. I love ADIDAS stuff. But to each their own. Bottom line is, aesthetically, I don't think much is going to change. But yeah, the reaction was a little mixed and maybe in favor of negative.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
I tried to track the Tennessee response. I'm not nearly as tuned in to Vol Nation as I am Penn State fans.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a little bit more accepting, again, because I think they have that history of having been with ADIDAS.
Yeah.
I actually vividly remember when I was in third grade, so I guess 2006, my third grade teacher, Mr. Matero, had Sports Illustrated every week in his classroom, and I would, of course, always read it. And there was a big advertisement in one of them during college football season, and it said something like the last thing you see before you enter the Tennessee defense, and it was like a close-up shot of a Tennessee defender's white pants with the orange Adidas logo. And I was like, that's a pretty cool ad. So they have a history, but again, Penn State does not. You also brought up a fantastic point about the NIL, and that's the next thing I was planning on asking you about. We have, and we've talked about it ad nauseum on this show, the House settlement opening the door for schools to directly pay athletes, the revenue sharing, $20.5 million a year as it stands. That will increase moving forward. Some people saw that and thought, okay, that's it. Like NIL is done. It's 20.5 million. There's a cap. That's it. No. That is not the case. These schools are still looking for ways to circumvent that, to augment what they have already divvied up with the 20.5 million. This seems to be another one of those ways to add on to that, right? By bringing in Adidas, you are adding another group who can provide NIL opportunities to your athletes.
Without a doubt, John, that's exactly what this is. And I think that really, at the end of the day, was probably a huge piece of why Adidas won this deal over Nike, because they were willing to put in this commitment toward Penn State athletes beyond just football. But Penn State, a lot of that athletic department money is going toward Beaver Stadium. It's going toward the indoor practice facility that's going up at Jeffrey Field, the soccer facility right behind there. They're actually renovating the soccer facility not even renovating. They're building a completely new soccer facility with offices and locker rooms and everything out there. There's a lot of athletic department money that is going toward things that aren't paying players, even though that $20.5 million does exist. So the fact that a brand was willing to go out there and say, yes, we will aid your NIL, we will help your players benefit in this, that's a huge deal. And it will have ripple effects down the line. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that Penn State can look at a top recruit in the 2027 class and say, look, we're switching to Adidas and they're willing to sign you as a freshman. Like that kind of stuff exists. And it's not even what we're thinking about right now, because those kids are just now starting to get recruited. It's really interesting. It's going to have ripple effects down the line, but that is absolutely a big piece as to why Penn State signed this deal with Adidas.
Beyond the financial aspect of this deal, which clearly, as you've outlined, benefits Penn State, benefits Tennessee compared to what those two institutions were earning previously through their apparel deals, there is also the prestige and being a focal point of said brand. There was a really good piece by one of the other Penn State beat writers, John Sauber from the Center Daily Times, and he talked about how reportedly Penn State did not get what they wanted from Adidas. From Nike, for example, Ohio State got like a gold swoosh for the playoff. Penn State requested that, did not get that. Now with Adidas, Penn State and Tennessee are by far and away the two biggest brands, biggest programs that are Adidas schools. You really couldn't say the same about Penn State being a Nike school. They were up there, but they weren't number 1, 2, 3, or probably even 5. What do we think being the premier or being a premier program, premier brand for one of these apparel companies like Adidas actually means? Like what will that tangibly look like for Penn State, if we know?
Yeah, I'm not sure that we do know to this point, because the teams that have been signed with Adidas for the past 5 to 10 years that are all fresh of mind, there aren't a whole lot of names that are in even the top 25 of college football. It's not really, Adidas hasn't had its chance to shine on the national stage yet in college athletics, and it's getting it now. I'm really glad you brought up the article by John as well. John's a good friend, did a great job with that story. I wonder if there's a piece of this that accelerated as well once Oregon joined the Big Ten, with Phil Knight having his ties there. When Oregon was in the Pac-12, it wasn't necessarily as much as a competition with Penn State or Ohio State or Michigan. Ohio State and Michigan are definitely not going anywhere with Nike, at least in my opinion, because Ohio State is a top 5, maybe top 2 brand nationally in college sports. And Michigan is firmly entrenched in Nike's Jordan subset. So, and probably the biggest school under Jordan these days, even beyond North Carolina, where Jordan went.
Right.
So, so I don't really see that changing. So Penn State, which has always been compared to Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten, and now is compared to Oregon at the upper echelon of the conference, no longer has to compete with those guys. And ADIDAS, with all the exterior commitment that it has committed to Penn State, has the opportunity to do a lot of cool things. The interesting part to me is you look at what Nike does with Oregon. A lot of it revolves around uniforms, all that kind of stuff. Oregon has a new uniform every week. Penn State, in its entire history, has had three uniforms, basically. The home blues, the road whites, and lately the generations of greatness, which are great uniforms. But it's as iconic as it gets in college football. So I don't really think that that's going to be a piece of this. It's not like ADIDAS is going to be throwing unique uniforms out there every week for Penn State, because that is one thing that I don't think the fans would ever get over. So I don't really know what it's going to look like, but I think that there is an ethos that comes with being the brand in the Big Ten for ADIDAS that will make a difference, whether it ends up being recruiting, whether it's something tangible in branding on the field, advertisement, whatever it may be. It's going to happen, but we just maybe don't know what it is yet.
You brought up a great point about Phil Knight. Just to elaborate further on that, there are some who would say, okay, as a Nike school, Penn State sells Nike gear. That money goes to Nike, which benefits Phil Knight, who is the Nike founder, who is an Oregon guy, a major benefactor towards Oregon athletics, and therefore Penn State is basically funding Oregon athletics, which is now a direct rival, as you said, being in the Big Ten. You also touched on the recruiting aspect of things. I've seen some people suggest, and I do get this as well as a Nike person, the cool factor. Like, I think Nike makes the best gear. I know you're an ADIDAS guy. People have their, different opinions. Some people prefer Under Armour, whatever it may be. But in the past, it was facilities. That was the big draw for recruits. There's also been the gear debate, the uniform debate, right? You want to have cool, like swagged out stuff that's going to attract young people to want to play for you. Does that really matter? Like, if there's a 17-year-old kid who wants to play for a Nike school because they like what Nike gear looks like, does that matter anymore now that NIL is as much of a factor as it is? I know it's tough to say because neither one of us are 17-year-olds, future 5-star recruits, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do think that you and I have the foresight at this point to say, no, we're not just going to sign with a school because of a check mark versus 3 stripes, know, but maybe there's a 17-year-old out there that it does matter to. And I really would not be surprised, because Nike has, as you said, the cool factor. Like basically, I think every professional league of any sport has Nike as its uniform sponsor. Maybe soccer has some ADIDAS.
Soccer has MLS has ADIDAS. Yep.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, and the sports that these kids are growing up watching, everything's Nike. Most of the biggest names in sports are Nike. Some of that has shifted a little bit in the past couple of years. You see Shohei Ohtani with New Balance, like other guys are signing with other places, but Nike still has, I used the word ethos earlier. Nike still has the ethos. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a kid out there that cares more about that than anything else. But your point is the best one. NIL is the great equalizer in college athletics right now. That's why you go out there and you see Texas Tech, which does not have the rich football history that an Ohio State or an Alabama, what may have you. They have football history, don't get me wrong, but it's not on a top 5 level. Going out there and getting some of the top 5-star recruits in this current cycle. NIL makes a difference. If you are able to tell a high school kid, look at this money that you can set your family up with in the future, that we're going to guarantee you no matter how much you play. There's schools out there that are doing that. That makes a difference. I really think that all in all, the switch isn't going to make a big impact for Penn State. I think the NIL, like I said, great equalizer, but you never know. Everybody has different priorities. I'm sure there is somebody out there who will say, nope, you're not a Nike school. I'm not coming.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
You also brought up a good point. Now all the pro leagues are Nike. I think outside of MLS is Adidas. NHL I think is Fanatics, but NBA, MLB, NFL, all Nike, which it was not always that way. That's more of a recent phenomenon. I bring that up to say that different apparel companies are diving into different realms. Now we see Adidas really making its entrance into college athletics, into some of the bigger programs. We've seen other brands. You mentioned New Balance with Ohtani, Cooper Flag. I've seen like even Skechers, I think is Joel Embiid, maybe. That's
new to me if that's the case.
I think that might be the case. And then Puma, LaMelo Ball has a deal with Puma.
Yeah.
Do we think that, like, I think back early 2000s, Georgia Tech was with Russell Athletic, right? Like UConn was with Aeropostale. I don't even know if those brands exist anymore. Do we think that these moves by Adidas could lead some other random apparel companies, maybe a Puma or something, to say, you know what, let's go after some big college that Puma doesn't have football. Let's say a big basketball school. Let's dive into a basketball-only school like Gonzaga and try to make a move there. Do we think, I know this is a big projection here, but do we think that could happen?
I could absolutely see that happening. I think that's already kind of the leap that Adidas made in going after Tennessee to re-up with them and going after Penn State. I think you see money talks. Like Nike used to have the reputation. That's where schools wanted to be. That's what attracted people. Money talks these days in college sports more than it ever has. And if a brand has an internal discussion and says, going after this program is going to do wonders for our own brand and our profits, whatever it may be, they're going to go after it. I mean, Adidas having Penn State is going to bring in money for that brand. Like, not a lot of other things in Adidas. I mean, just plain and simple. I mean, the amount of money that Penn State sells in merchandise, tickets every year, whatever it is just, it's astronomical. It's unfathomable by most everyday people. So yeah, I think that's absolutely a possibility. Why not? If you are a Puma or a New Balance, they did that with Shohei Ohtani. How many people would think potentially the most famous athlete in the world beyond some of your European soccer stars that have unreal fame? Shohei Ohtani's right alongside them. Who would have thought that he would have been with New Balance? I mean, the iconic classic dad shoe has one of the greatest players to ever touch, in my opinion, the greatest player to ever touch a baseball signed to its brand. So yeah, absolutely. These brands, clearly the thought process has shifted. They're willing to go spend. They're willing to go land some of these big fish. And I don't blame them because so far it's worked out.
Max, I'm going to put you on the spot here. A little bit of trivia. Okay. This is a tough question. But who was the last non-Nike school to win a college football national title?
It's got to be, oh boy. I feel like it's got to be Notre Dame, right? Because Notre Dame's with Under Armour and has been for a long time.
I'll tell you this, it is an Under Armour school.
It is an
It
Under
is.
Armour.
Well, it was. I believe this school has
Was.
since switched.
Oh
Yes.
boy, that's going to make it even harder for me.
Yeah. It's 2010 Auburn, Under Armour.
Oh, Cam Newton.
from
Yeah.
Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bring that up to say that there is, as we've touched on, there is that I guess now the kids use the term aura. There's an aura about Nike, right? This is a brand that represents winning, that represents greatness. We'll see if Adidas can bring the same to Penn State and Tennessee. Though I will point out, Tennessee did win a championship with Adidas in the late 90s. So there is some history there. So we'll see.
Yeah. You know, John, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I did want to say we were talking about brands going after athletes as well. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference because he's gone from Penn State after this year. But I think the same day that Penn State announced its deal with Adidas, Drew Aller announced that he was with Nike as a brand athlete. So, you know, there are guys, Nike's still going after big names. Everybody, athletes out there in every sport are going to have Nike as their brand. You know, it's going to happen. And there is still an opportunity for Penn State athletes to go beyond Adidas, and that will happen, I'm sure. And it's just interesting. There's a lot of layers to this thing, man.
Yes, that's a great point. And Aller will be gone after this season, so he won't have to deal with being an Adidas school while being a Nike athlete. But that would be fascinating if Penn State did have a guy, let's say whoever the next quarterback is, signed by Nike as an Adidas school. Who knows if that ends up being allowed? I don't know, but that would be pretty fascinating if it were a thing. Any final thoughts on this discussion as Tennessee and Penn State move from Nike to Adidas?
No, John, I think we really touched on it. It's money. And that's the thing that I think we avoided for a really long time as college sports fans and as college sports consumers, you know, even into the mid 2010s. How many guys have had suspensions or what have you for things happening off the field? And ever since NIL was put into law and things have just progressively evolved, it's all about money. And anytime something happens that you might not understand, always think about where the money's coming from and where it's going, because that more times than not, in my opinion, is the reasoning for why something happens. And it's very clear, especially with Penn State, with all the, not just the $300 million, but with the commitment to the NIL and everything that we talked about, this move to Adidas was made because of money. And money makes the world go round, and especially in college sports nowadays.
There is an arms race in college athletics, NIL certainly at the center of that. I thought you started this off very well by talking about the Beaver Stadium renovations and all the money Penn State's pushing out. And Penn State is an institution that actually makes money from athletics.
Yeah.
As we've talked about on the show, the large majority of schools lose money on athletics. So these institutions are always trying to find new ways to make money. But Max, really appreciate your time and insight today. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for all the great work that you do covering Penn State football on Penn Live. And look, as we get set for this transition, I think you have to post some content giving Adidas reviews. Like, you have to review their sneakers, review their shorts and t-shirts. Since you are an Adidas guy, and we have all these Penn State people who are a little bit apprehensive about this move, you got to spread the gospel of Adidas.
Look, July 1st, 2026, John, you might be able to find me in the Penn State bookstore tracking down what's in there, what the new stuff is. I made a joke to my girlfriend because I like I said, I'm an Adidas guy. I'm on the 3-stripe life. I have been for years. And anytime I get an email in my inbox that's like, 50% off, 70% off, I take a look, and I can't always control myself. So sometimes I just got a new pair of shoes and a new hat last week, and I'm loving it. So you might get some reviews. That's not a bad idea.
Okay. Adidas, Max Ralph approved. As Drake once said, checks over stripes. Max saying stripes over checks. Penn State and Tennessee doing the same as well. Max, thanks again. Always a pleasure, my friend. And we'll be in touch.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you.
There you have it, Max Ralph, who covers Penn State for Penn Live. Huge thanks to him for joining us, sharing his insights on this really revolutionary change to notable programs moving to Adidas, especially Penn State, who has been with Nike for so long. going to a new brand. A reminder that we are powered by PAC-Hub, so take a look at the bottom of your screen, pac-hub.com. If you are a student athlete, if you are a coach, this is such an amazing resource. It's a great way to find that missing piece. It's a fantastic way to find that next school and that next opportunity to play at. So check it out, pac-hub.com. And one last reminder to subscribe to our page. You'll get notified every time that we post a new video. Like and comment. If you comment, if you have a thought, you want to share your thoughts on Adidas versus Nike, you want us to talk about a certain issue, interview a certain athlete, have a certain guest on, let us know in the comment section below, and we will do our best to achieve that. Once again, this has been the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub. Around the Huddle, all things college sports, beyond the game. We'll talk to you next week.